if you're not consistently talking about the culture or trying to push the culture or trying to build the culture, and you're not making decisions based off the culture, then your culture is going to erode. It's just, you're going to be left with a business that is haphazard, doesn't have a direction, a mission, vision, and nobody wants to be there. Welcome to the Spinoso Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Alex Spinoso, and my experience and expertise is in building all sorts of medical businesses to 7, 8, and even 9 figures. I'm not telling you you should do this. I'm just telling you how I did this. And I want to help you build your business, take ownership of your life, and become a better leader at home and at work. And as always, I have Miss Amanda May here with us. We need to come up with a nickname for you.
Okay.
Something good.
What do you?
I have no idea.
You're
Just
good
saying.
at
I'm
that
just
kind
saying.
of stuff.
I always say like the amazing Amanda May or the beautiful Amanda May. We got to come up with something for you.
All right.
Mayday or something. Mayday or something. No, that's like seems like it's just about to go down. We got to think of something.
It is.
What's something good? What do you think? What's your nick? Oh, your nicknames in the past were all like bad nicknames, right? Like
Yeah.
Tits McGee and stuff like that. I remember that. We can't use your old nicknames. Old nicknames don't work well. We got to come up with something.
All right. So if you're listening to this podcast, tell
Yeah.
us what we'll vote. We'll take a vote.
Yeah. Comment, post, DM us.
What's my nickname?
What should the nickname be? Keep it friggin' G-rated, people. It's savages. All right, what are we talking about today?
So I heard through the grapevine that you were a bit fired up recently. You were in Houston and you had a clinic owner that you were a little fired up about who was struggling. She was struggling with getting her staff motivated. And I want to know about the details of the juiciness. What was happening? Why were you fired up?
Yeah, I think we had this conversation, and I was at an event that I was speaking at, and one of the conversations that we were having, I do audits for businesses, so free audits for businesses, and it's 5 questions. We can, if you need to find it, it's actually online on my website under, I think dralexspinoso.com/free clinic audit. Fill it out, 5 questions, and then Vaughn and I, Vaughn's my business partner in Charismatics. He goes through it with everybody and talks to them. And really, the point is to join Charismatics because we can help solve a lot of problems that these clinic owners are having. But this one clinic owner in general was talking. When I asked her what her biggest headache was, she just straight up said, "My people," and not because they're bad people, but because she hasn't figured out how to get them to buy in. And so that's really what we're going to talk about today. And I got super fired up about it because everybody talks about, and this was actually the subject of our charismatics call, or a question last night on it, was the fact that you have guys like Andy Frisella, myself, other people say that you don't find great people, you build great people. And then there was another phrase that my business partner Vaughn used, and I forget which entrepreneur specifically he was talking about, and I'll have to think about it. But he said that this certain entrepreneur says, never. What did he say? Can't remember. Damn, I want to remember what the hell he said. Never hire type B people. Or yeah, call Vaughn, see if he's available. It's a Thursday. All right, we're recording right now.
Hey, dude.
Hey, Vaughn, you're on the Spinoso Podcast. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. What's going on?
Okay, so the phrase, who was the entrepreneur last night we were talking about when it came to hiring people in your business? And we were talking about Andy and myself talking about that you don't hire great people, you build great people. What was the other phrase that you mentioned?
Yeah, so it was John Maxwell, and I looked up the context. It was a little different from what we were talking about. It was, you don't send pigeons to flight school.
There you
And
go.
it was kind of similar, but what he basically meant is that not everybody is a born leader,
Got it.
and you don't want to waste time with people who are not born leaders.
Perfect.
That you, yeah, that's what it was.
Thanks, Vaughn.
Yep, you bet.
All right, bye. The answer is D. Don't send pigeons to flight school. But no, that was the phrase last night was, don't send pigeons to flight school, or you don't hire great people, you build them. And the concept was those are two those are two sides of the same coin. Because when you're hiring people, as you want to find people who are awesome in your core values and want to learn, and really that's it. Despite the fact that they need a license or whatever, that's outside of this conversation. But if they live your core values and they want to learn, you can teach them to do anything, and they're going to excel in that. And those are the people that you want to find versus, this lady saying, "Well, I have bad people," or the people aren't necessarily bad, but I just can't get them bought in.
Mm.
Like, okay, well, like, what are you doing to get them bought in? What are you talking about to get them bought in? I think great leaders and great entrepreneurs, they focus on making good people great and pushing their limits. They don't hire idiots, period. It's not like you're out there and you're finding okay morons and you're turning them into great people. You still need to have a really hard interview process. You still need to find really, I would say, effective people or efficient people or people who are good at their jobs now. And then you can make them great because they want to grow and they want to improve versus hiring somebody off the street that literally does not care, who's got no interest whatsoever. The You're not going to turn that person into a great person. And so all those people that say, "Well, I don't hire great people," all those people that say, "Hey, all those entrepreneurs that say, I don't hire great people," it's that they hired good people and then turned them into really great people for their position in their company.
Mhm.
Not necessarily that they picked them off the street and they knew nothing or they were terrible or, they're bad humans. It's not like we're a rehab center helping these people out. We don't hire idiots. We don't hire morons. We hire very effective, high level people and then turn them into even better people.
Yeah, and people who have that desire anyway of growth, it's those are the people that you can easily, well, I guess, easily work with to get them to the next level. But it's about them buying into the mission though, is what I hear, is like she wasn't effective yet at getting them bought into the mission. Which I think starts with core values. It's something that we've built the Genesis model on, right? Like it's dig deep and act with integrity.
E-
It's
Exactly. That was what I asked her. I said, "Well, what's your mission?" And she couldn't answer. And I was like, "Well, what's your vision?" And it was like, "Well, we provide good health care to people that's quality." I mean, that's shit. So does everybody else on the planet. So what is your mission and vision? What you're trying to do? What are you trying to change? Because too many owners are thinking about the culture as perks, like free lunches or nice scrubs or flexible hours or get to play in the ping pong in the break room like Google or shit, like the sound rooms, crap like that. People like that, yes, but they really care about culture, and culture is mission. Like, this is the hill that we're going to die on. This is the purpose that we have this business. People want to be a part of something that actually matters. They want to know that they are improving some part of the world around them. And that's one of the biggest human needs is the need to be a part of a community, something bigger than themselves, doing something bigger than themselves, and having a part of something bigger than themselves. And so you want to motivate your team, give them a reason beyond just compensation to show up every day, to improve themselves, to do better for themselves, for their families, for the clients that they're serving. Talk to them about it. And I told her straight up, you need to build something or create something or have a mission that they can believe, that they can buy into. And there are mentors out there that say, hey, your dream has to be bigger than all the other dreams of your employees combined. So your dream as the boss, as the tip of the spear, you have to have this massive dream to where every single person in your company can achieve their dreams.
Mm.
And if they can't, then don't be mad if they go somewhere else. If you cannot provide that for them, the next step, the stage of growth, whatever, then you're never going to be able to keep them. They're going to outgrow you, they're going to go somewhere else, and you can't be mad about that. But in order to get people motivated, you have to have some sort of mission, some sort of vision, some sort of reason for them to be there and to contribute.
Well, and going back to Genesis and our dig deep and act with integrity, it's the base of everything that we do. We hire off that, we fire off that, we bonus off that. And so it's a matter of like people know what it is from the beginning when they are joining our team, they're already bought into the mission. So we're a step ahead of the game when somebody is coming on to Genesis and that's a great place to start. So what do you feel like as a CEO, how do you ensure that people are bought into the mission from the beginning?
Uh, I think that's part of the discussion that you have in your interview process. You talk about the mission, the vision, where we're going as a company. And then you have to have follow-ups. You have to have meetings. An EOS model that we use has quarterly meetings every quarter, and we ask about what are people hearing? What are people feeling? We ask every year at the first meeting, are our core values still our core values? And we'll probably do that actually this year on in our Q3 meeting because we didn't do it in the Q1 meeting just because of different things that were going on. But in the Q3 meeting, we'll ask, are these core values still our core values? Are these still the things that we're looking for? Is this still our mission, our vision? Is this still our plan?
Yeah, so it's like setting the stage, but then also giving the team the ability to have a voice in it, which means they're a part of the process. And when you make someone a part of the process, they're definitely more bought in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%.
How do you feel like you show up to build the culture for the company?
The CEO has to be the quintessential perfect person. And what I mean by that is that you can't make mistakes. It's not that you can't make mistakes, it's that you have to be the person who lives the core values bigger than anyone else. You have to live and breathe and sleep the core values more than anyone else. And habits, just like with your children, employees and teammates are the same. Habits are caught, not taught. So if you show that you're doing this and you involve them in it, I'm doing this because of X, Y, and Z. I'm doing this because of X, Y, Z. This is why your position is important in this cog and this machinery. That's what we're going to do, then they're going to believe in it. But a CEO has to do that. You have to explain why each position is important. And it's really important to know that because most employees, they don't think that, let's say, the Amazon box packer, the one guy who's standing there, or hundreds of people who are standing there and packing boxes at Amazon, they don't think their job is important. However, if all the Amazon box packers walked out one day, I mean, they might replace it with robots, but it might take a few months and they would be really fucked for those 3 months. They would seriously hurt, you know, their bottom line, they would seriously hurt their revenues, etcetera. And so, even the little person, I'm not saying stage a walkout in your business. What I'm saying is that every position is really important to making the entire company run. And it's like a really nice watch. When you look at really nice watches, they say, "Oh, it's made with over 200 pieces, individual movements, etc." And you have to have all those pieces in the watch for it to actually work. If you opened a watch and you took out one piece and you put it back together, as long as it's not like a screw on the outside case or something like that. You took a watch apart and you took out one piece of the movement inside of it and you closed it back up, the watch would never fucking work again at all. So it's important to realize that every position in your business is really important. And the same, you should be explaining that to your staff. Hey, every position here, we don't just hire people to sit and look pretty. That position is important because of this, this, and this. This is why I need you to be the best. This is why I need you to live your core values.
Interesting. What do you feel like is the most neglected area when it comes to this that most CEOs are overlooking, not thinking about?
I think people think that core values are bullshit, and I had this question in charismatics the other day, and they asked, "Well, which one of the core values affects the bottom line the most? Like,
Mm,
which core value will get me the most money?"
that's a good question.
I thought it was a fucking terrible question
Why? Oh, this will
because
be good.
I
I
thought it
want
was
to know. I
I thought it
think
was
it's
a
great.
well, and the reason, sorry, I got this chair's too big. I got my little feet dangling.
Kicking me
We need
from
to get
across
like
the.
normal. Yeah, we're playing footsie. Sorry about that. Um, no, I thought it was a terrible question because, in my opinion, like all your core values is what drives revenue. That's what drives revenue. If you don't have integrity, you might make a lot of money, but at some point your business is going to burn to the ground, right?
Mm.
If you don't have, determination, that's just part of being an entrepreneur and growing a business in general because you're going to have ups and downs, and ups, and Genesis is in the middle of a down right now, and we're, pivoting and growing back into an up. That's just part of it. If you don't have customer service, people are going to tell everyone about you that you suck. I mean, that's important. If you don't have, innovation, if you're not innovating constantly in your business, trying to improve your systems, your processes, your services, etc., you're going to become irrelevant. If you're doing the same thing that you're doing today in the medical field specifically, there might be other fields like building bricks or I don't know, hanging garage doors that it doesn't matter. But in the end, it's totally different. But with the medical field, if you're not innovating, if you're not putting new services out there, new treatments, and being on the up and up, you're gonna go by the wayside, and people are not going to listen to you. Period.
So here's why
So,
I like the question
okay, tell me.
because I feel like while there is a list of them, there's like one foundational one that without it, nothing else works.
Which one is it?
I think that's integrity.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can be determined, you can be all the other things. But if you don't have, if integrity is not a part of each person, like that's not a core value that could be missing. And I
I don't
think,
know. I've met a lot of fuckheads that make a lot of money and they're not integrous.
mm,
Although it might take a few years for them to get caught.
yeah, I don't feel like that's sustaining though. Because I feel like how you
Yeah.
make money is like the person that you are when you make it is who you have to be to keep it. And if you have to continue being an F head,
Hmm.
like eventually that's going to run out.
What's an F head?
If it's like people, I mean, you're gonna run through your contacts, your lists, your
Oh, absolutely.
people just aren't it's
You have everybody around you.
eventually you burn out.
Absolutely.
You can't do it forever.
I don't know. There are a lot of stupid people. I've seen some people do
Maybe,
it
huh?
for a very long time. But
Mm,
I think it catches up to you. You're right. I think it
yeah,
catches up to you at some
it's a
point.
good way
It,
to
it
say
catches up to
it catches
everybody.
up to you.
It does. Like karma's a bitch and it will kick you in the balls as much as you can.
Yeah, even
Just
if
can.
it's not like, let's say it's not through like a financial like wealth in your business, but like your relationships are gonna suck. You got a lot of money, but you don't have any quality relationships. I mean,
Hmm.
so I guess, yeah, I mean, I like that question. Like, which one of all your core values essentially is the most important in this process? But I guess the concept of which one makes you the most money, that I can see where you're coming from.
Yep.
'Cause you can make money without integrity,
Oh,
and people
absolutely.
do it all the time.
Totally.
But which one is the most important? Maybe that's a different question,
Yeah.
which I like.
I mean, you could be a really good drug dealer, make a good amount of money, right?
There are those people out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
They are. Um, that's an interesting one. And so how did she if you're allowed to say, I'm not sure what the you know, guidelines are around your conversations in your group, but
Mm.
um how did she respond when you shared that with her?
Well, after the second slap, no. Um, I think it took a few times. So her response was like, "Well, should I put in, a bonus structure to get them to buy into things?" And it's like, "Did you not hear what I just said?" Like, that's again putting a band-aid on the open gaping wound that you have. So she was trying to fix the problem. She was trying with money.
Mm.
And again, there are some things in your business that you could fix problems quickly with money, but she was trying to fix her culture with money. And no matter how much money you spend, you're not going to fix your culture with just throwing money at the problem. You can fix other systems, processes. We need to buy this machinery, etc. You fix all those with money, but you're not going to fix a person with more money if they're already acting in a certain way
Mhm.
or they're already not bought in and you don't have a mission. So you need to reward the behavior, not just the outcomes. And the behavior is what your core values are. Reward based off the core values. So, did your MA go above and beyond for a patient? Did your provider spend extra time with training of other providers in the system? Did your front desk turn a cancellation into a reschedule because they explained and spent time on the phone? Those are the things that you should be rewarding. Not the, well, I'm just going to pay you based off of a commission structure and bonuses, which is good. You can. Genesis does that. But what above that are you bonusing off of?
So being out of the clinics. So talking more broad when somebody has multiple clinics, let's say that they're running and they're not day to day with their teams and their employees. How do you get your leaders within your locations to point out those things and see those things in their employees to keep people, like, rewarded for the right things? Like, what kind of plan would you set up, or how would that look so that you are empowering your clinic directors, let's say, to bonus and notice when somebody goes above and beyond in their position or lives out the core values in the company?
I think you just have to consistently talk about your core values. You have to teach your managers locally in your clinics to talk about your core values. You have to meet based off your core values. You have to reprimand based off your core values, and you have to uh, what's the opposite of reprimand? What word am I looking for? Praise.
Praise?
Thank you. Based off your core values. Those are the things you have to do to keep the core values in front of everybody and show that they are extremely important. And now that makes it easier to bonus people based off that. And at the same time, those bonuses can be from other people in the company recommending it. So Andy Frisella, a good friend of mine at First Form, he gives out core value awards every single month. And along with that, obviously, there's bonuses and things, but you can't win a core value award by nominating yourself. Somebody else has to nominate you for that core value award every month. And it's that they saw you do something or X, Y, and Z based off the core values. They submit that core value award every single month. So it's not just yourself praising yourself for doing a good job. It's
Mm.
somebody else seeing that in you and praising. And again, that is a great thing. It's a great system because then it forces people to look for the good that others are doing. It forces them to see the good that others are doing. And, they put in for each other.
Creates a culture of gratitude.
It does.
Yeah, I love that. I've heard you throw out even the example of, like, the Rolex challenge or even, like, family perks. What do you I mean, we kinda talked about watches a second ago, so let's keep talking about the watch thing. What would you do in regards to, like, a Rolex challenge?
Yeah, so I always tell the staff, look, I'll buy you a Ferrari. I don't have a problem with it. But you're gonna have to do something in order to earn that Ferrari. Oh my god, she destroyed my centerpiece that we had.
That's not how you earn a
Destroyed it.
Ferrari.
That's not how you do it right there. Um, I tell staff all the time, "Well, I'll buy you a Ferrari, but obviously you have to sell enough to make it justifiable that I buy you a Ferrari." And so there will be at any given time people that compete for awards. They compete for certain, and we've paid for concert tickets and we've paid for patio furniture and down payments on cars and, you know, Rolex. It's anybody could come up with any reward that they want in the business. And then they have to come up with a sales goal or a review and sales goal, or it depends on if it's a bigger thing, then it's a review, sales goal, and like something else. It obviously is, one for one in terms of comparison. It's not like, well, if I get 5 reviews, will you buy me a Rolex? No, that's your requirement every
Yeah.
month, like bare minimum.
Yeah.
And so you want to provide the opportunity for your staff to get what they want and to get their dreams, but at the same time, you also want to get, staff bought in. So that helps the staff get bought in while at the same time, it obviously benefits you because you're not just giving them commissions. They're going for something that they want personally. And at the same time, if you make it personal, they'll remember that. Like that gift, if they have that watch, they'll look at that watch and say, "Oh, this place bought me that watch." Or they go home and they look at their furniture or even trips we've
Mhm.
sent, clinic director wanted to go on a trip for a week to Disneyland with her family for, 100 plus recurring billing clients in a month. And she did it. And we sent her to Disneyland with her family for a week. And so those things, those opportunities, most other jobs, in fact, I think I haven't heard of a single other job that does things like that. And when you do things like that, you get major buy-in from your staff because they realize, "Oh, I could get some great things here if I really push myself."
Yeah, it makes it fun too. I feel like it makes the job fun. And then if there is even like healthy competition among clinic directors, I know we've done that where like the person with, you know, this much, whatever it is for the month, and it's like clinic against clinic. I don't want to say against, but competing with each other. So it pushes everyone to work harder for the month because they want to be recognized as the one that got it, or, they bonused at the end of the month because their clinic reached the goals, um, faster, better, whatever than the other clinics. Um, what do you feel like when you're bonusing for numbers? Is it like what kind of culture does that create when it's like numbers related?
When it's only numbers related, I mean, the problem is that there's no mission, there's no vision. It's numbers, 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 and they're chasing numbers, and if there's anything about humanity in general is at some point, people are gonna have to or start they're gonna have the opportunity to be less integrous to get to their numbers.
Mm,
And that was a problem that we had in Genesis is that when we focused on just the numbers, you see that people make up stuff or it was a booking. We saw the number of no-shows increase because we had booking numbers to meet. And so people were just trying to book or putting fake people into the schedule, etc. So you're providing opportunities for people to break your core values. And again, that's probably a good way to test people, but it
yeah.
takes a bit to figure that out that it's actually happening. And all that happens is that it hurts your business. And so when you're only focusing on the numbers, 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 numbers in terms of bonuses, then you're only going to focus on a culture that is all about the sales and sales driven rather than the client and solving the client's problem. So you want to create a culture you want by focusing on those core values.
What do you feel like is one behavior you wish your teams would show more often? And then how could you reward it?
That's a good question. I think one behavior I wish my team would show more often is um, teamwork. Now, there's a caveat to this. They all work phenomenally as a team locally, and they're getting to the point and I've pushed the point of that they should be working, regionally and with each other in terms of teams. Um, but one thing they still struggle with is they a lot of times come up with great ideas locally and they implement great ideas locally because we allow them to and we give them the um I would say the permission to put certain policies, procedures, things in place locally that work. They don't share that. And as a result, like they might be doing well or really well in this part of the business or that part, but they don't share it so the rest of the business can benefit from that. The rest of the locations can benefit from that. So that's one thing I really have to, maybe reward on, an idea bucket or something like that, where they get a reward for a new idea that changed the way Genesis does things. That's a really good thing. We should talk about that. We should talk about that for our quarterly meeting. Let's
Yeah,
write that down.
I was just going through that too when
Yeah.
you were talking. I'm like, we could do this because we could have each clinic say something that they've implemented that hasn't been company wide
Mhm.
that is working really well.
Mhm.
And then we have a list of all the things. And then maybe as a group, they vote. Like, I could do that at my clinic. So, the third person or whatever it is, like they all vote. Like, I could do that at my clinic. And whichever one, most of our clinics say I could do that and make that work, and it would improve my clinic too. That would be like the winner.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. Uh, And then the winner, but then we have to figure out what they get. How do we incentivize that? So that it's cool because that em it encourages them to continue to look for ways to improve the company, like, across the board. So it broadens their perspective from just what's right in front of them in their own clinic, which I've been in the clinics, you've been in the clinics, like,
Mhm.
it is, like, when you're with patients all day and you're seeing consults and treating patients and filling out paperwork and, all the things that it takes to run a clinic, and it's a lot. It's easy to get honed in on what's happening right here,
Mhm.
So to broaden back and step back and go, "Okay, wait a minute, like, there's a bigger picture." I think that's the value of our quarterly our meetings that we have, but, like, our EOS meetings that we do quarterly, that's a good broadening moment, to really tap into
Yeah.
what people are doing.
Absolutely.
Something that we've talked about on other podcasts is really managing where people are getting their information from so that things align with our company values and recognizing that if you don't lead the culture, someone else or something else will in your company.
Mhm. Yeah. Absolutely. It's like parenting. If you don't parent, somebody else is gonna parent your child 100%, and it might not be who you want them to. So you better fucking buckle up and make sure that you are pushing the culture. It's not a vibe, it's a system. You are focusing on implementing a system into your company, and that system is the foundation for everything that is built upon it in your company. It's going to start with your culture. If you have a really toxic, terrible culture, you're going to lose really good people that want to be a part of a great culture. If you have a culture just based off of numbers, 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 then you're going to create a culture where people will lie to get to those numbers. If you're not creating a culture where you are talking about your values weekly, your staff is talking about your values weekly. It should be really even daily. Your staff, your culture, etc. You know, and you're hoping that they're just going to pick up on it. They're just going to pick up on the mission. They're just going to pick up on the vision. They're going to pick up on your culture. They're not going to. There's no way they're going to. Um, Men are dense, and they're even more dense when it comes to culture. Um, and I think just teammates in general. men or women, if you're not consistently talking about the culture or trying to push the culture or trying to build the culture, and you're not making decisions based off the culture, then your culture is going to erode. It's going to fall apart. It's going to slip away. And it's just, you're going to be left with a business that is haphazard, doesn't have a direction, a mission, vision, and nobody wants to be there.
Part of leading with that culture is making sure you're constantly communicating that, like what we've talked about already. And just to reiterate on that point is that you have to be talking about it and incorporating it in the trainings, and then, like how you were saying, it's caught, not taught. Your leaders, if they're intuitive, I feel like outside of the men who you say are dense, if your leaders are intuitive and they're looking to you for leadership and you're doing it, then they're going to take that back to their teams. And so they're going to be talking about it. One of the things that I would do when I was in the clinic, if we had consults, where what would happen is if somebody's sitting there and they're sharing with you why they want to lose weight, and you go, let me go get someone else and bring them into this conversation. A couple things can happen. That person can feel like they're being sold to. They could
Mhm.
feel like they're being ganged up on. They could feel like they're being pressured. They could feel like their vulnerability that they shared with you is now to somebody else that they didn't necessarily sit down and trust that with. So how do you calm that client? Give, for women, give their nervous system a chance to relax into the consultation in a way that it feels collaborative for their best interest. I would always say, you know what? Let me grab one of the providers because they're going to be able to talk to you more about why this is important. And I would give them the example of what they were looking to gain.
Mhm.
And I would say, one of our core values at Genesis is teamwork. So it's super important for us to bring in teams where we know that they're going to be able to meet your needs. And people were just like, oh my gosh, that's great. And even talking to our clients about our core values like that, they go, oh, you're a company with core values. This is different.
Mhm.
How do you stand out? Something that we talk to our teams about is like, what do we provide to our clients that somebody else doesn't? Well, when a client is sitting there and they hear that we have core values that we operate from, that's not something that they're gonna hear
Mhm.
when they go it's very rare or unlikely, I would say. I can't say it's never gonna happen. There are probably other people that operate with core values, but one thing I know for sure is there's not a lot.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of companies that do or communicate it. So communicating it is super important. Um and along those lines and things we've discussed before is about sending your employees to trainings that you haven't gone to.
Yep.
And that's one of the missions of Genesis is to be the best employer. Well, how we do that is by implementing Genesis University, where we vet the trainings, we create the trainings, and then we put it in a platform that makes it easy for our teams to go in and say, hey, I want to learn about this. I want to learn about that. So it's personal responsibility and accountability to be better at their position. We've given them the tools, but we know that those tools are aligned with our core values, our mission, our vision with the company. So we've gotten to a place to be able to do that. But let's say it's a single location and they want to, you know, encourage their teams to grow and develop. How would they best do that to make sure that what that team member is hearing is aligned with their core value?
Oh, exactly what you just explained, making sure that they're going through the training first and foremost before anybody else, and not at the same time with your staff, because again, you can't do anything if they're saying something in the middle and you're sitting next to your staff member in the training. You want to make sure you go through the training, you understand the training, and the training is speaking to what you want. If the training is, I would say, 50% what you want and 50% what you don't want, don't send them there. Even if it's 30% what you don't want, don't send them there because you don't want, again, habits or are caught, not taught. And if they go and learn new habits from other people and you don't want them to have those habits, then you're going to spend twice as much time breaking those habits and then rebuilding them. So why we created Genesis University is to do exactly that, make sure we have a controlled environment and where our training is exactly what we want them to learn. It's relevant for what we want them to learn, and it puts them in the same direction, rowing in the same direction as us. And anybody that says otherwise in terms of, well, you're only teaching them certain things, et cetera. Yeah, fuck yeah. That's all I'm teaching them. I don't want them to learn from idiots. I don't want them to learn from some of the vendors that we have and they come back with all these awful ideas because the vendors have never run a successful business in their entire lives.
And what you're not saying is that people can't grow and learn and develop on their own. Like, if there's somebody who wants to take a particular seminar or training outside of the work environment because it's an area of growth that they want to have for themselves,
Mhm.
like, great, more power to you. And I think that that's fantastic. If somebody sees an area in their life that they're like, I need to improve in this, I need to figure out how to get better, and it's not necessarily related to the company, that's cool too, because that person getting better in any aspect is going to benefit the company.
Yep.
But when it comes to company culture and things that we are doing to push and scale our business forward, those are things that you would regulate and watch and make sure you know exactly what they're hearing.
And that's always been a rule in Genesis is that we'll pay for certain CME, we'll pay for certain classes or improvements, but the rule is that when you go take those classes, you have to teach everybody else in the company what you learned. And so it's not just us paying for you to benefit and then heaven forbid you go somewhere else and take all that knowledge with you. It's yes, we'll pay you to benefit, but you better act like a team member afterwards and train everybody else in the process that you learned or the treatment that you learned. And that way you get everyone around you to be better. Everyone around you learns. And again, instead of one of the great stories that I don't think I've ever talked about on the podcast, but I talked about it in one of our corporate events, was that there was a class in the Navy named the Golden 13. And I think there was actually 15 members, and then it ended up being 13 graduating members. But they were the first all black U.S. Navy class. And they let them in. And, it was an experiment to really make sure that they were going to fail and
Mm.
because there was a bunch of things that they did. One, they let them in under emergency. Literally, they pulled these guys from their jobs. They were construction workers and masonaries and accountants and stuff like that. And they went and pulled them from their job. And within 24 hours, they had to report to naval school. The second thing was that naval school is usually, or the classes that they took, I would say, is usually like a year or longer, but they had to do it all in 12 weeks.
Wow.
All of it, all the schoolwork, same schoolwork, everything, same testing, everything. And the way that they ended up passing all of them, and essentially all of them except for, I think all of them passed. Maybe one had to leave or something. There was 14 that passed, and they called them the Golden 13. And there's history around that as to why. I haven't read much into it, but the reason why they passed is that they focused on each one thing. So they each learned one thing that they had to learn over the next 12 weeks really, really, really well. So they each were able to cover, a week's worth of classes, and every week was like a different class. So every one person learned something really, really well. And what they did was they taught each other every night what they learned or what they knew, and they trained the others every single night. So, for example, the guys that were pulled from like executive jobs or leadership jobs, they taught the rest of the team about leadership and how to be a leader and core values and how to speak into your team. The guys that were the accountants, they taught everybody else like the mathematics of the Navy, all the math problems that they had to solve and learn, etc. The guys that were masonries or masonries, they had to they taught the others like all of the engineering stuff that they had to learn.
Mm.
So every day, every night they had study sessions all together, and they made a pact. Like the first week they said, either we all fail or we all pass. That's it. That's how it's going to happen. And from the beginning they had a mission that we're all going to fucking pass. Period. No matter what that means, we're all passing or we're all failing. Those are the two options that we have. They had a mission and a vision of what it was going to be, and then they worked towards it every single day. They worked towards working together. They created a system, and that's how they developed together, and that's how they sped up their development. Is that the people who were really good at one thing, they taught the rest, and the rest were willing to obviously listen and learn, and then turn around and teach them what they were really good at. And so it's really just sharing and improving ideas.
That's a great story. I am automatically thinking, how do we do that in Genesis?
Right.
So being able to, like at our corporate meeting, maybe we have a list of 10 or 12 things that are aspects of the company: sales, organization, customer service, whatever those things look like. And then we ask our team, which one of these do you think you're incredible at? And which one of these do you think is the lowest? Like you're just not good at it. You don't know how to do it. You could get better. And we pair them up
Mm-hmm.
so that the person that's really not good at or confident in something is paired with somebody that is like, feels like they're the great at it. And we pair them up and they have to work together once a month or something to learn what they don't know so that they're teaching each other. And it's not clinic to clinic, but it's company, like it's a company outreach.
Mm-hmm.
Might be somebody not in your clinic. Well, it wouldn't be because it would be clinic directors.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's making me think about how we could implement something like
Yeah, that
that
could be great.
because I think that would be incredible value. It's so smart the way to do it like that. One of my first personal development courses, there was a game called the Red and Black game, and we were split into two. There were like hundreds of us, and we were split into two groups. One was the red team, one was the black team. And you had to figure out, well, you competed, but you were in two separate rooms. So it was like this group would make a move, and then um the runner would go tell, okay, this is the move they made, and then what move do you make? And then they would come report. And so you go back and forth like that. And the game went on for a while. And the premise of it was, at the end, what you come to realize is there was a way for both teams to win.
Mm-hmm.
But because we had been conditioned to I win, you lose, we were all playing this game intensely. Like, no, we got to make this move so that, so we win. So our team is on the top. But it's like the collaborative effort of doing it together meant we both win. But we didn't see it that way until the very end. And so it's a really eye-opening game because they tell you, like, how did you approach the game? What were you feeling, And I grew up super competitive and I always want to win. I still want to win, but I don't want to win at the expense of somebody else losing. Now I want to win with people winning.
Mm-hmm.
So little shift, but still competitive. But interesting to think about how many scenarios in life, if we come together and really work together as a team, how much further people would get, how much further our companies would get, how much more growth we would experience with our teams, how much more fulfillment. I mean, it's like endless what could be created when people work together in their genius zone so that they can help other people rise into their genius.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that story. It's super impactful. I mean, we've talked a lot about business, the mindset that someone has to have, and how you would train your people in your organization to have that. I think at the end of this conversation, if somebody can take away something, that one final note from you, if they want to build a company culture, like we started this conversation with, where you had your charismatics member wanting to focus on the financial gain and some of the things that don't build the foundation of a culture, what do you feel like a CEO should focus on first if they recognize, I don't have a strong culture and I really want to get everybody on board? What should they do? Like, what should they implement? An actual tactical do this thing,
hmm
and it will start the process for you.
If you want your staff to perform and you want to do something tactical, you need to go back to the beginning and you need to write down your vision and your mission. What is it that you want to achieve? Go back to that. Start with that. If you don't have it, figure it out. Take the time to figure out, what do you want your company's mission and vision to be? And then you build a culture that's intentionally created to solve that problem, that's intentionally created to fulfill that mission and that vision. And then along the way, you make it really exciting and you make it really personal and you allow your staff to be a part of it, because no one stays loyal to just a paycheck. They stay loyal to a mission. Their mission is what guides you the entire time. Your values are what guides you the entire time, and they're going to want to be a part of that. And those are things that we help people create in charismatics, and we help people talk about in charismatics, because they think, again, it's just woo-woo bullshit. But that vision, that mission, that baseline of what you're trying to do, that is what guides everything. And that's what keeps great people on board. That's what turns good people into great people. And that's what will allow you to win.
Awesome. And if somebody needs help with that, they can join Charismatics.
Absolutely. Join charismatics.com or look at charismatics.com and join us. I mean, we have an event coming up in, I believe,
July
3 weeks.
12th.
Yeah, July 12th. We'll be there 3 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now. So really excited about that. And guys, we're here to support you and help you however you can. You can always write in your questions at questions@dralexspinoso.com or message us, DM us. We're always available.
I want to correct that because I think it's the 9th and 10th.
Is it the 9th and
9th
10th?
and 10th, or
That's okay. I
10th
just
and
believe you,
11th.
whatever you said.
Yeah, I think that it's the day before.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Thursday and Friday, July. Figure out which one it is. But all right, guys, if this podcast helped you, like, subscribe, please write a review of it. If you thought it sucked and you still got to this point, I don't know why the fuck you're still listening. Just don't write a negative review. Share
Just
it.
tell me what my nickname should be.
Tell us.
If that's what you got out of
Message
it.
in. Say what Amanda's nickname should be, and we'll start using it.
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, I probably will use it for sure. So you guys are good on that one. All right, guys. Have a good one.